Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a really beautiful classic tale today, one that is all about a parrot's absolute, unwavering devotion to his friend. Now, on the surface, sure, it's a simple fable about two birds in a forest, but at its core, it holds a seriously profound lesson about the true nature of affection. I'm so excited to break this down with you because the wisdom here is just timeless. So think about this for a second. Can true love be proven without ever speaking a single word? It's a big question, right? Well, to find the answer, we're going to mentally travel to a vibrant, lush green forest. Picture a beautiful canopy of leaves, the gentle sound of a river flowing, literally the perfect idyllic home for our two main characters. Section 1. An unspoken silent love. Okay, so in this lush green forest lived a shy parrot and a beautiful Myna bird. Every single day, they flew and foraged together. To the rest of the forest, they were the ultimate best friends. But the parrot actually carried a secret. He loved the Myna deeply, but he was just way too shy to say the words out loud. So, since he couldn't speak his love, he showed it. First, whenever he found the absolute sweetest fruits in the forest, he'd make sure to feed the Myna before taking a single bite himself. Second, when the heavy rains came pouring down, he'd spread his wings wide to act like a tiny umbrella, shielding her from the wet. And third, if a predator ever even came close, he would immediately guide her to a safe spot before he even thought about his own safety. His devotion to his friend was entirely 100% action-based. It's actually fascinating to look at how they both experienced the exact same relationship. From the Myna's point of view, she was incredibly happy, but, kind of living in blissful ignorance. To her, this was just a wonderful, deep friendship. She had absolutely no idea the parrot wanted anything more. But for the parrot, he carried the silent weight of this profound, unspoken love and a huge sense of responsibility. He was utterly devoted to her well-being. Section 2. The hunter's cruel trap. Unfortunately, the peace of their idyllic forest was about to be completely shattered. One morning, while the devoted parrot flew a bit farther away to search for food, a merciless hunter quietly laid out a hidden net. And the hunter's trap worked all too well. He captured several beautiful birds, and tragically, the Myna was right there among them. She completely panicked, and the more she fluttered and struggled to escape, the more tightly she became entangled in the cruel netting of the trap. Section 3. A relentless, heartbroken search. Let's look at the timeline here. From the morning he left to gather food, to the devastating evening he returned, the parrot expected to hear her joyful singing, but he found nothing but a silent forest. The other birds wept as they told him a hunter had taken his beloved Myna. The parrot's heart completely shattered. As the days dragged on, he became so grief-stricken that he completely stopped eating and drinking. He flew from morning until night, relentlessly searching. He asked every tree, he literally asked the wind for her whereabouts. This right here is the ultimate physical sacrifice. His pure devotion to his friend pushed him entirely past his own biological need to survive. Meanwhile, the hunter had taken his captured birds and sold them off. The Myna now found herself locked inside a tiny, cold iron cage. And in that dark, lonely confinement, her mind just kept wandering back to the parrot. She thought to herself, I wish I could have understood that every little care he showed was his love. The crucial takeaway here is that it was only in his absence, in the freezing cold of a cage, that she finally recognized the profound depth of his silent devotion. Section 4. Reunion at the Palace. But guys, the parrot had never given up. Pushing his completely exhausted body further and further, he eventually tracked the hunter's path and discovered the birds had been sold to King Vikramaditya. Without wasting a single second, he flew straight to the royal palace. Looking through a window, he finally spotted her, sitting sadly inside a thick iron cage. He instantly flew in and frantically tried to pry open the latch. But he was just a small bird, and the iron was way too heavy. In his total physical desperation to save her, feeling completely helpless, he literally began bashing his head repeatedly against the iron bars, with tears streaming down his face. Seeing him physically hurting himself for her, the Myna broke down into loud sobs. And for the very first time, she spoke the words aloud. She said, "Parrot, forgive me. I never understood your love. I love you too." It's just an incredibly emotional peak in our story, the exact moment the invisible wall between them finally shatters. And how does the parrot respond to this? Does he say, "I told you so"? No way. With a tear-soaked smile, he delivers this incredibly selfless line, "I never asked for anything. I just wanted your happiness."
The absolute purity of the parrot's devotion to his friend is so striking here. It was never transactional. His love was entirely about her well-being.
Section 5. True love requires action. Now, as this deeply emotional exchange was happening between our two birds, there was actually someone else in the room. King Vikramaditya had entered quietly and was witnessing this profound, heart-wrenching display of true love with his very own eyes. The king, deeply moved and with tears of his own, turned right to his guards and decreed, "To imprison true love is the greatest injustice. Free them immediately." He recognized that a devotion so pure and action-driven could not and absolutely should not be caged. The soldiers instantly threw open the cage door. The Myna flew out directly into the parrot's embrace. What followed was a beautiful reunion, a joyful song that echoed through the entire palace, and a triumphant flight back home. They returned to their beloved green forest, and from that day on, they never left each other's side, flying and singing together every single morning. So, let's pause for a second. How do we truly recognize love? It's so easy to look at a 500-year-old fable about birds and write it off as just a nice little story. But the reason these stories survive for centuries is because they reflect fundamental human truths. And that brings us to the core moral of today's explainer. True love is proven by actions and care, not just words. The parrot's devotion wasn't found in grand, sweeping speeches. It was found in the sweet fruits, the shelter from the rain, and his relentless, agonizing search when his friend was lost. Genuine devotion is measured in what we actually do for others. And as the fable tells us, when love is truly genuine and shown through action, eventually the whole world is going to recognize it. I want to leave you with this final thought. Who in your life is quietly holding up the umbrella when it rains? Who are the people showing you silent devotion every single day through their actions, perhaps without ever asking for a single thing in return? Take a moment today to recognize them, just as the Myna finally recognized her parrot. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Keep learning, keep looking for the unspoken devotion in your own life, and I'll see you in the next one.